Hey folks, in my last video, I talked about my plan to weather through a bear market and got a lot of comments on that and several comments on my financial videos, retirement videos that I put out. A common theme is fear. Fear really of financial problems, running out of money. It's a very common theme. Some people are paralyzed by it. Some people are managing it. And so I thought I'd leave a video on fear, okay? And today, when I was exercising in my exercise room over there, I'm really a junkie of this guy named Tom Bilyeu, Bilyeuu. He has a channel called Impact Theory and just great motivational things around managing your finances, managing your career, managing a business you may start, how to get fit mentally, how to get fit physically. Just absolutely great. I will put a link to it below. This morning I was listening to a guest of his named Dave Hollis, who has a book out called Built Through Courage. Exceptional quote in there. And this is, hey, if you remember one thing from this video, remember this quote: the antidote to fear is a plan. Very cool. The antidote to fear is a plan. And that is so true. People are panicking, when they think about, hey, a 10% correction in the market, or gosh, I can't imagine going through a 50%, bear market. What if it lasts 2 years, 3 years, 4 years? Oh my gosh. And, what would I do? And the antidote to that fear is to have a plan. So I'm going to talk through some components of my plan. This may not be an exhaustive list for you, but it covers mine. And I'll talk a little bit around what I'm doing as part of that plan. So I got 10 things I want to talk about. And your plan can be very simple. It could be just a few words. It doesn't have to be right now. It doesn't have to be a 3-ring binder or an Excel file. So let's just go through it. So number one is, how do I plan for a 3 to 5 year bear market? Okay, that's bucket one. I use the bucket approach. Okay, I have bucket 1, 2, and 3. I have 3 to 5 year money in bucket 1, 5 to 9 year money in bucket 2. A little more conservative investments. Bucket 1 is basically in a savings account, and its purpose is to handle this bear. Okay. And bucket 2 is to handle something a little more extended, but it's in, I got conservative dividend stocks in it that pay dividends every single year. Got some bonds in that bucket 2. And then in bucket 3, I have my long-term, money that I need past 8, 9, 10 years. So number one is, how do I handle a 3 to 5 year bear? Number 2 plan is, how do I handle a 5 to 10 year bear? Bucket 2 will handle most of that. I may need to dip into bucket 3. Okay, that's my plan. May not be your plan. You may not think that's a great plan. It's my plan. Okay, based on where I'm at. Okay, number 3, how am I going to beat inflation? How am I going to get income? How am I going to maintain my spending power? Inflation is something you got to pay serious attention to. And that's really my buckets 2 and 3. I target a certain return, maybe about 4% in my bucket 2, and then somewhere in the 8% range long term. This is before inflation. 8% in my bucket 3. You may say that's too high. Okay, it's too high. Change the number. Okay, I'm using 8. And from my buckets, I have a refill plan. Every 6 months, I take a hard look at my expenses, take a look at where my bucket levels are, and remember what each bucket is for. So I got to keep topping off bucket 1, right? I got a separate video on this, but keep topping off bucket 1 because, you never know when that bear is going to hit, and you don't want it to hit on December 31st and you automatically have a refill on the 1st, January 1st. So, kind of, keep topping that bucket off. So what's your plan? So that's my plan on beating inflation and to have income and maintain my spending power. Number 4 is taxes. What's your plan for taxes? Taxes can kill you, especially when you get into RMDs. That's a huge deal for me. A lot of my money is in pre-tax income, so I've got a Roth conversion plan. I use a software package called newretirement.com. Huge fan of it, huge fan. I also have an advisor that I don't pay. He gets paid out of the Um, Expense ratios of the funds that I invest in. I've left videos on that. But what's your plan for taxes? Taxes will eat your lunch. Know where the thresholds are. Use Roth conversions to help you out. So that's my thoughts around taxes. Number five, spending. How are you going to spend? Um, Expenses. How are you going to withdraw? Again, I use this new retirement software. I have this advisor gives me pointers. I got an Excel file modeling. Um, you know, um, my what I can spend each year. I also use the 4% rule, and a lot of people cringe at that. I don't hard and fast look at the 4% rule. That's just kind of a rule of thumb. Where's it in relation to my other models? And when they all line up and they all agree, I can feel a lot of confidence in my plan. Okay, so that's around spending. I do have bumpers, that in there all just mental bumpers on my spending. So, say the stock market goes down 50%. I don't spend the same way as if the stock market's up by 20%. Okay. So, kind of hunker down just a little bit. And it also depends on how much is in my bucket one and bucket two. So if I'm in the fourth year of a bear market, I start to tighten up a little bit more. If I'm in the first 6 months of a bear market, I may just spend as normal, planning on that bear being an average bear, okay. So I just have that plan, and that gives me great comfort. Number seven, I'm on six, sorry. Six is Social Security. What's my plan on Social Security? I use newretirement.com. I use an Excel file. I use the website, irs.gov, I believe it is. And then I have my advisor that I talk to. And right now, my plan is to take it 70. That the 8% that it increases a year makes great sense for me and what my income is. It just makes sense for me. It may not make sense for you. Number seven, long-term care. What's our plan around long-term care? Self-insurance. Before you buy long-term care insurance, look at the data around what percentage of the people go into nursing homes and what's the average stay. The last, you don't, there are a bunch of different data sources. I think the number's around 15% of the people go in and the average stay is around under like 2 years or something like that. So if you can handle, 2 years and with a 15% probability of that being you, I guess if you're doing two people, it doubles to 30% that chance that one of the two of you will go in. But what's your plan? We have our house, we have no debt, we got investments, we should be just fine with that. Number eight, what's your estate plan? We have a will. I'm still looking at options in that around, a trust, and does that make any sense? But I'm not spending a whole lot of time on that yet. Then number nine, I think I'm on nine. Yeah, what happens if one of you dies? I'm from a financial standpoint in fear. What protects my wife? She's not near as interested as I am in our investments, sorry, and what we do and what my buckets are and spending. She just doesn't pay attention. So that's one of the reasons I like having an advisor. It's kind of my backup plan, in case something happens to me. My advisor knows how I think, where our money's at, and could steer Lisa along the way. It's one of the reasons I picked an advisor that's much younger than me. He's 37 years old, so, in 15 years, when, something unfortunate happens to me, this person is still in their prime of their career and not, if I picked an advisor with a lot of experience and was, say, 65 years old, 15 years, they're 80. So then we'd have to go through another advisor. So that's my plan. It's my logic. Let's see. So that was death. Number 10 is legacy. What kind of legacy do you want to leave? And my wife and I are talking about that. That'll get more meaningful in a few years, maybe 5, 10 years, when we see, how the investments grow over time, if they grow over time. If they grow on average, for the next 15, 20 years, we'll have quite a legacy that we can donate, most of all to our kids, but then what outside of that? So, to me, I come back to, The antidote to fear is a plan. So this is my plan. You know, it's in my head. Some of it's written down. I've discussed it with my wife. I discuss it with my financial planner. We're all in agreement. This is the plan going forward. And I'm not saying it's a great plan. It's my plan. My wife and I, it's our plan. But it gives you great peace when you go into times of potential fear, like, hey, we've had a 10% correction this year. And I'm telling you, a lot of viewers are out there panicking. They're just, hey, Joe, what do I do? Joe, what do I do? And I'm like, well, I'm not the right resource for everybody. I understand the emotions of going into retirement, the emotions of, um, being retired for 3 years now. And I can help guide some people through that. I'm not going to give specific financial advice, but I love this quote. If you don't want to have fear, you got to have a plan. That's the antidote. Okay, this is Joe out.